Hey, what is up YouTube? How's it going all you spooky cats and dogs out there? I'm back. It's Sparky Marky Mark here and to do a special review. Gonna be in depth on this one. But I want to tell you all what I might have left out something on Halloween 5. If you might have heard, there are some, how do you call it, long lost footage, but it's not in the special features of the deluxe edition, nor you'll ever see it on the DVD, nor online. There is mentioning that there were scenes in the uh, at the Haddonfield Children's Clinic where he killed some of the members of the SWAT team, of course. And on that previous video, which I left, I'll leave link to the Horace Hollow Grounds Halloween 5 filming location, and where Don Shanks mentions that he did kill some of the cops in the film, but apparently they were, how you call it, deleted because due to the fact it was too violent and it was graphic. So I'll leave that in the video. So if you already seen it already, so of course we're in now we're in 6 years later to 1995's Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, and what you're gonna look at is I got two copies, the DVD, and then of course you have the Scream Factory from the deluxe edition box set that we got about 6 years, no, yeah, 6 years ago. So, I got this one from the Buena Vista collection of the To Hell and Back. Of course, that comes with the other, which comes with Hellraiser 4 Bloodline, Halloween H2O, Hellraiser 5 Inferno. And I bought this 11 years ago with that set. And since then I loved it. But before that, I came across paths with it on HBO, Cinemax, and what else? Or Showtime or HBO, whichever channel it was. I saw half of it till me mom or dad told me to change it. And what else? And I did come across it 11 years ago. At the time I was done with high school. This would have been around the fall, around October, and I was seeing in my grandparents' trailer. At the time, they were living in a trailer before they moved to a different neighborhood, and um, I saw the film. Wow, how good is it? And I noticed over the years, I did see it. I did see they were mentioning bootleg editions of this legendary producer's cut. I did see it online, hearing sound clips, but ultimately I did see it on YouTube. But with the quality, looks like cavity color quality. Heck. But over the years, I hear it was passed down at conventions with bootlegs until 2014. Screen Factory and Anchor Bay cooperated together to release the deluxe edition set, which comes with this, of course. So yeah, and the quality is pretty good. Maybe much lesser than the Echo Bridge budget Blu-ray releases that we've gotten over the years, even on the multi-packs. I mean, they're kind of great. I haven't seen them, but I know they're great. And then, of course, after Halloween 5, of course, the rights went up in the air after the okay success of Halloween 5. The rights went up in the air after that. And then suddenly they just how can you put the word? It went up in the air, went back to the stockholders, right? To the rights went back to the stockholders, and then suddenly it would take 6 years or 5 years until the rights were purchased by a different company. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, there was a bidding war. John Carpenter, of course, teamed up with New Line Cinema to bid the rights to make future Halloween films, and Mustafa Akkad and his son Malika Akkad were in the other company with Miramax / Dimension Films with the Weinsteins, and then suddenly Miramax / Dimension Films got the rights. Whoop-de-doo. Which is, of course, in this special feature, which I'm about to tell you. And of course, the script, of course, was written by Danielle Farrands, whom is a big-time fan of Halloween, and he answered the questions of what went on during the events in Halloween 5. And he's a big time fan, wrote the script, perfect. And of course, here it is on the new special feature. Okay, you got the audio, well, this is just audio commentary, which you're going to be seeing only in the producer's cut of Halloween 6. You have it with screenwriter Danielle Farrands and composer Alan Howarth on the producer's cut. And you have, okay, what I said on Halloween 5, I'll leave a link to that video of the Jamie story, of course, which I'm about to tell you in a bit. That it's interview with, it's about how do you put the word, how many minutes is this? But it's an interview, it's a 7-minute interview, a 7-minute 26-second interview with actress Danielle Harris, Jamie, the original Jamie. She talks about that she had, after Halloween 5, she had gone to do some television, guest appearances, other films and projects she had done. And she kept in touch with Malika Cod and Malika Cod's sister, and then writes to her saying, I could still, even until this very day, she would tell Malik that she can still smell his father's cherry pipe, tobacco pipe, whatever that he smoked. And also talks about the, how do you put the word, she still wanted to do another Halloween. And suddenly, of course, there was her agent told her that that they were casting for a Danielle Harris lookalike, and then suddenly she was 17 at the time in 1994, and then suddenly, how do you put the word? She read Danielle Farrands' script. It was great. But then suddenly there were some changes, alterations, even with the character of Jamie. And then suddenly she got a word. I mean, she got paid out about $10,000 or something. And apparently when she went on set, everything wasn't feeling like it was. So the movie, I mean, for her, she left the production, and then she finds out that her character is a scale from 1 to 10. Her character dies in the first act, so it wasn't pleaseful. So she left the production and then suddenly went into another section, and she didn't came back. But then she found out she was replaced by J.C. Brandy, a well-known actress or English actress, to play the teenage version of her. But also she met them years later through mutual friends, and had, how do you call the word? They met through mutual friends, and they remain friends till this very day, of course. And yeah, there were no fights between J.C. Brandy and Danielle Harris about who was the better Jamie. No, they did great jobs. No lie there. And then, of course, and then you have the cursed curse, an interview with producers Malika Cod and Paul Freeman. After the okay success of Halloween 5, the rights went back, and then I already said about John Carpenter teaming up with Moonlight Cinema, and what else? Mustafa Cod and Malika Cod teamed up with the Weinsteins, and then they bought the rights for the future Halloween films. Oh well. And then they won the rights, Miramax / Dimension, and then suddenly there was some aura going on set, of course. That there was some infight. Was it a classic style throwback to the original or a classic stylish bloodbath? They had no idea. Again, this was the 90s. And there was, in the documentary Halloween 25 Years of Terror, there was a little rumor that, how do you put the word? What is the word for it? Quentin Tarantino was initially going to direct a Halloween film before they hired this director named Joe Chappelle, who is from Chicago, of course. And I gotta say, the only reason why Joe Chappelle did the film is that he had a 3-picture deal with Miramax Dimension Films, of course. And then, of course, there were some infights of changes. Danielle Farrands was doing rewrites. He wasn't pleased of how Miramax, Harvey Weinstein was treating his script, right? And of course, when they did the how do you call it, the test screening with using 14-year-old boys, it went to reshoots. It went back into production, in which the Akkads had no idea Harvey Weinstein did the reshoots behind their backs. They had no knowledge about the reshoots. And then um and then suddenly they invested a lot of money into the production. And also Paul Freeman mentions Joe Chappelle, yes, and went back and shot the film at Salt Lake City, Utah, of course. And then plus Paul Freeman was surprised as well that Harvey Weinstein did the reshoots behind the Akkad's back. No knowledge whatsoever until years later. And of course, they invested money into the movie. They had a scheduling release date and everything. And all in all, you have a curse interview about what went on set. And then you have acting scare with actresses Mara O'Brien and J.C. Brandy. Mara O'Brien plays Beth, Tim Strode's girlfriend. J.C. Brandy as Jamie Lloyd. And she had to pick up 4 and 5 to see what she's representing the character, Jamie Lloyd. And then, of course, there was some, of course, what was going on set. Even it was the biggest snowstorm of the year, that it showed that they had to dig up a lot of snow because, again, they were shooting in Utah for Haddonfield, and they originally wanted to do it in Salt Lake City, but they couldn't do it. So, yeah, holy shit. And now they got to do it all over again. Suddenly they had to do other things, and then she met Paul Rudd. Before he got cast on this one, he was working on his production. He was working on the film Clueless at the time, until he got back here to do the film of Halloween 6. And she keeps in touch with Paul Rudd, and at the time of production, of course. And of course, there are no, I mean, even she doesn't even mention at the time of that interview that he was working on the Marvel movie Ant-Man. This was in 2014 interview, for the record. Too bad they couldn't bring in Paul Rudd, because again, he became a big star after this movie, and it helped launch the careers of anyone who was involved in the film. And then suddenly, for both of the girls, there were reshoots, of course. After the test screening didn't went well, they went back into production, and she lost a few pounds, or she dyed her hair. The original scene in the producer's cut, she gets stabbed and then dies at the hospital, but there are not many gunshot victims in the hospital and stuff like that. Which, of course, I'll leave you in the link in the description box if I messed out on anything. And then over the years, she met director Edgar Wright, who would later direct other films, and saying, Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers is my favorite. You were in that movie. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, she owns an art shop or something, and she is recognized even for her daughter's friends who knew her from that movie. And then you have which is the acting scared, is about 19 minutes and 16 seconds in length. And then, of course, the next new one is The Shape of Things, a look at Michael Myers' murder and mayhem, with special effects artists John Carl Buechler, Brad Hardin, and stuntman actor George P. Wilbur, which is, of course, about, say, a 11 minutes and 27-second feature talking about that Mustafa Akkad contacted Buechler and Hardin for Halloween 6, and also to make the mask as accurate, of course. Apparently he wasn't so big on the last mask, which was from part 5. And he showed him the Halloween 4 poster of the Michael Myers mask. This is what it has to look like. And it was sculpted by Chris Robbins, who is a very talented makeup artist. And from time to time, Buechler would come over at a time and punch the clay a little bit himself. And he had to make sure, because they really went for the poster and hit the jugular very hard. Nailed it good and stuff. And then, of course, they had to make the mask to make sure that it fit George P. Wilbur's life size, because George is a very big guy. Even if you put the old William Shatner mask on George Wilbur, it wouldn't look the same because he's very big. And he said that George P. Wilbur is like a teddy bear, and this is the guy that plays Michael Myers. And then also George P. Wilbur said Mustafa Cod contacted him as well to play Michael Myers again, because he's very familiar with the six. He is familiar with the character after playing him in 4. Of course, he wanted a certain look and asked him to come back. He knew there was a lot of a lot of things going on in the production. It wasn't like Halloween 4. Halloween 4 was smooth and clean. 6 had some issues. Because, like you've heard before, was it a classic style throwback to the original or a stylish bloodbath? And of course, there were, and apparently Brad Hardin had and Buechler, no one in the production had no clue about any additional photography. They thought the film was in the can and everything. And then, of course, came time for the reshoots. The producers felt that George P. Wilbur looked a little too bulky, or he gained a few pounds or something, or he gained weight or something, or there was some infight with the stuntman actor. And then they hired another guy to play Michael Myers, which is A. Michael Lerner, the stunt coordinator, Fred Lerner's son. Fred Lerner is the stunt coordinator in the film as well, plus he plays an orderly who gets killed by Michael in the theatrical version. In the reshoots, which they had to be done in LA, of course. But again, I'm going to tell you this. There are no new interviews with A. Michael Lerner, but I'm going to leave you another link in the description box down below with the CRS or the CSR Collectibles video interview with A. Michael Lerner, of course. So 2 guys play Michael Myers, but the theatrical version was all George. But when the reshoots came, they hired A. Michael Lerner for the theatrical version, but in the reshoot scenes. Some of it was George, most of it was A. Michael Lerner. I don't even know if you could tell the difference. But all in all, he came back, of course, only to be the stunt coordinator of the film. No animosity. He came in with a smile, and he came out of the place with a smile. He came out of the production with a smile. No animosities, no lie. He just went back. That's how it is. People come and go on show business and such. And of course, there were more issues, of course, that that they wanted to do a little more blood and guts, let's go nuts, let's go broke. And then the death scene of the jerk father who gets electrocuted, which is, people would say is their favorite. Personally, my favorite as well. So yeah, very good, very cool. All in all, you have a very awesome feature. And they thought they really did a great makeup effects for the film. I mean, there wasn't much on the producer's cut, of course. Then you have a, let's see, Hanfield's Horror, The Sights and Sound of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, with director photography Billy Dixon, and production designer Brad Ryman, and director of photography, additional scenes, Thomas Calloway, of course, which is, I believe, gonna say about 20 minutes feature, of course, if I'm not mistaken. Or I'll leave the how do you call it? Behind the scenes of that film. That they talk about the photography, how it was done for the first time, but when they did reshoots, they had to redo everything, of course, and redo what was left behind on the previous edition, of course. So they had to like redo scenes, they had to redo shoots, of course, which is the 11-minute feature, of course. Yeah, it's an 11-minute feature, 11 minute and 8 second feature, the visual designs and everything. That they had to like, when they did the scenes, everything was smooth and steady, but when they were hearing that they had to come back to do reshoots, again, they had to like make more things of it. And again, they were not pleased with Harvey Weinstein's, including adding photography, putting scenes out of anywhere. And of course, again, curse production. That's why they call it the curse. And of course, you have Full Circle with composer Alan Howarth. The, what do you call this one? Yeah, New Full Circle. Of course, which is indeed a very in-depth feature with composer Alan Howarth. When they did the score for the film, everything, thought it was all in the can. But when they did reshoots, they had to redo a score and redo it differently of how it went since the test screening. Like you might have heard in the 25 Years of Terror, they used 14-year-old boys for the test screening and say that the endings suck. Then it went back into production, added more scenes, a little more blood and guts, this and that, which is kind of sad, of course. Very, very bummer that they could have just stuck with both versions. They could have had a successful feature. Very seriously, should have like stuck with the way they were doing it. And what else? Here you have new cast and crew tribute to Donald Pleasance. Yeah, you have interviews with Malika Cod in it, and who else is interviewed? Brad Ryman, director of photography. I believe Thomas Calloway's in it. Billy Dixon is interview as well. And it's a 2-minute, 58-second feature with these guys, and also Mara Bryan. They don't appear in the same film together, but she met him and knew he was a great actor, a great veteran, trained actor, and such, ready to do his job and everything. And when they came on set, everyone loved him. But when he passed on in St. Paul de France, February 2nd, 1985, everyone was shocked. But when the film came back to reshoots, he was no longer around. They had to put in a stand-in for the additional photography in one scene only, and they used some of it. Joe Chappelle and Harvey Weinstein found the veteran actor to be boring. Really, dude, the movie should have been treated with respect. This should have been treated well, since this was Donald Pleasance's final performance and final movie of his career. And it was very bummer, of course, really. And it was real wonderful and honor to work with the veteran actor in the film, is what the cast and crew said. Even in the 25 Years of Terror documentary, yeah, I'll leave it in the link in the description box. It was very sad of what went on. And then what else? You have additional archival interview footages, which is, of course, from the Electronic Press Kid, of course, which is about 8-minute feature, 8 minutes 1 second. You have interview with Stephen Paul Rudd discussing his character from the first Halloween. Marianne Hagan, who plays Kara, and such. Even Joe Chappelle. There are no new interviews with those three people, because again, their careers have been taken off, or they don't want to talk about it. Joe Chappelle definitely wouldn't talk about it, because again, he had to answer all 4 bosses who are involved in the film. And what else? Yeah, and then you have a 30-minute behind-the-scenes footage of the behind-the-scenes feature home video. And of course, you have an alternate, an alternate and deleted scenes not present in either cuts of the film. Not even the producer's cut, not even the theatrical cut, which is indeed, could have made it more, but again, MPAA had to cut it. Here, it was not on the special features, the filming locations, but Horror's Hollow Grounds, hosted by Sean Clark. It's not on this one, it's on the bonus disc. of course, in which it's about a 22-minute, 59-second feature with Sean Clark and the special effects artist Brad Hardin. They go to the locations to where Halloween 6 was shot yet again at Salt Lake City, Utah. And then they go to the locations of the Myers house and finding out that that house where they put it as Michael Myers' home, they how do you put the word? It was a whorehouse in the 60s by a madam. And across the street she had from Mrs. Blankenship's house, it was used for a touch of Angel, some television shows, and she had no clue it was going to be involved in a horror film. And then there were interior shots, and then some of it was shot across the street from the location of where the film was shot. And then suddenly there was some other things involved, and then of course they went into LA for the reshoots, which was playing Smith's Grove Warren County Sanitarium. Of course, in the shots, some of it was there, but some no longer there. Some still blocked by other things, including, of course, mentioning that when they did the reshoots, it was a very sad day because Donald Pleasance passed, and they had to make sure he was supposedly there in spirit, and had to put in a stand-in for the confrontation scene between Dr. Wynn and Dr. Loomis. Between the two before it gets knocked out. That was a stunt double for Donald Pleasance. And then, of course, the chasing under the tunnels, that was done. And what else? And, of course, again, A. Michael Lerner, Brad Hardin, both play Michael Myers in in some of the scenes, of course. But Brad Hardin did the stand-in while Michael Myers did the other stunts. George P. Wilbur did play some of it in the theatrical version, which they left. If they had left scenes from Halloween, from the producer's cut with Dr. Loomis and Michael, it would have made perfect sense, and it would have been a great film. Again, you have to blame Harvey Weinstein, what he did. And then, what else? And I believe that's all you have to know from the special features. I'll leave you links in the description box down below for the interviews. So, yeah. I mean, again, very bummer, very, very, that we couldn't have both versions. Like, if they had left some of the scenes from the producer's cut, it would have been great having Dr. Loomis for one last time. Also, it would have been much cooler to have the scenes to make sense and other things. Also, what else? It would have made perfect sense that, I mean, a lot of it, of course. And again, it would have been a terrific film. All in all, they called it The Curse of Michael Myers. Because again, the production was cursed. And if they had stuck with Daniel Farrands' original vision, it would have made sense and perfect. But, again, and when the film came out in September of 95, of course, make that September 29, 1995, it was on a budget of $5 million and it only made $15.1 million. Whoop-de-doo, boys and girls. Yeah, not the hit that they were hoping for, but all in all, it is what it is. And the film was dedicated to Donald Pleasance's memory. So, yeah. And it's been 25 years since this film came out, and Donald Pleasance's untimely passing. So, yeah. So, anyways, I mean, I do like the movie, but they have stuck with Daniel Farrands' vision. It would have made great. It would have made sense. But now you have two cuts of the film. So anyways, this is Sparky Marky Mark. I'm out of here. See you on the next vid. Take care. God bless you. And beware of the Booger Man. Woo!